Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us here this morning. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge the territory that we're on. So we're Victoria Arts Council, we're in downtown Victoria, and that's the traditional territory of the Lekwungen speaking peoples of the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations. We're very happy. We're very happy and fortunate and lucky to be working in this part of the world and learning here as well. So I'm going to pass it over to my co-lead, Cassidy, who has some slides to thank our sponsors.
Thank you. All right, welcome to Creative Mornings. May's theme is now. It's not our task to master the present, but to savor it, to pause, go still, feel the air on the back of our necks, sit in both discomfort and pleasure, and marvel in the radiance of the present moment. So that we may, in the poet William Blake's words, hold infinity in the palm of our hand and eternity in an hour, for all we have is now. Our Buffalo chapter chose this month's exploration of now, and Ms. Shin illustrated the theme, and our global partner MailChimp is presenting the theme. Thank you to MailChimp, Creative Mornings' official global partner for marketing. The MailChimp & Co. 2022 benchmark report is now live. This year, more than 2,000 freelancers and 63 agencies provided insights into how to win more business, find and retain top talent, mitigate risk, and improve your performance. These insights and inspiration can be delivered directly to your inbox, and you can check out MailChimp.com for details. I want to thank the City of Victoria and the CRD for their continued support. And thank you to HCMA. HCMA is an architecture firm that designs buildings, brands, and shared experiences that connect people. So we're from the Victoria Arts Council, and we'd like to share our next exhibition, which opens next Friday, June 3rd. It's Life's Work, a visual memoir by B.A. Lampman. It's going to be on from June 3rd until July 17th. And on the opening day, we're going to have a reception with the artists from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The exhibit underscores the VIC's commitment to supporting local artists and their exploration through art, often of hard realities. Life's Work will be presented in the main gallery at 1800 Store Street with a special installation in the vault as well. Our hearts are really hurting for what's happening in the Ukraine right now. We have 3 chapters in the Ukraine, and the Creative Mornings HQ community team has been in touch with them. They're currently doing okay, and when asked what they needed, they sent us some organizations that we can work through to help out. So you can find these resources in our blog post at creativemornings.com. And without further ado, we're going to welcome our speaker today, Maurina Joaquin. Maurina is an artist based in Souk, BC, whose work focuses on themes of disability and healing through art. After surviving a near drowning in 2010, that resulted in brain injury as well as trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder, Maurina has utilized art and creativity as a way to heal and is an advocate for creativity as a complementary method of care for those who experience trauma. Creating mixed media work using various types of printmaking, as well as embossing, stenciling, collage, and mixed media. Maurina's work explores and communicates themes of disability, including brain injury and trauma. Maurina has been exhibiting her work with the Souk Art Council and Victoria Arts Council since 2019 and has studied visual arts at the Vancouver Island School of Art since 2013. She has led a variety of printmaking workshops focusing on healing and disability with the Victoria Brain Injury Society and has had her work published in a variety of Vancouver Island-based publications. So I will pass it over to Maurina.
Thank you. Thank you, Cassidy. Thank you, Leah. I will just go ahead and share my presentation today. So is it all clear? Yeah, thank you. Um, so for, I would like to take this moment to respectfully acknowledge the traditional territory of Sioux First Nations, upon whose land I practice the healing process of art making. I want to thank Victoria Arts Council for inviting me to take part in their Creative Morning series. So hello everyone, I'm Maurina. Thank you for inviting me to share my art practice. I am the person behind Art of Adapting. This image is titled Lily, part of the Reflection series, dedicated to my young neighbor Lily, who was diagnosed with a rare form of childhood cancer. Today, I will be talking about my journey, my art practice from my early years, and how a brain injury transformed my life, not just from coping, but to practicing the art of adapting. So let's start. I was born in Quezon City, Philippines, and I'm the eldest of 6 kids. I learned hand lettering, paper and fabric collage, and sewing at the age of 7. I spent many afternoons with my grandmother doing arts and crafts, assisting her with cooking, sewing, and sometimes gardening. As a kid, I'm used to playing and using drafting tools from my dad's work supplies. I also enjoyed playing instruments and singing. In grade school, my brother and I are the sister and brother duo playing bandurria and octavina. I was also a member of our community choir. My grandparents from my mom's side and a few relatives moved to Ottawa in the early 70s, and our family followed in 1989. I continued to play music with my brother in high school. We are the first members of the first string band in Ottawa. I played the cello and my brother played the upright bass. I was also an active board member of the Philippine Migrant Society of Canada in Ottawa before moving to Victoria, BC in 2007. I continued studying at Royal Roads University, Victoria Island School of Art, and University of Victoria. It was in the summer of 2010 where I sustained a traumatic brain injury from a motor vehicle incident and nearly drowned. For years, I was in denial about the severity of my injury and the challenges of the impact. Relearning how to read, write, and speak by working with a speech pathologist. And this is where serious work started. At the counselor's office, I was asked to draw how I feel. I was struggling to express what I was feeling, frustrated over the many months of therapy. My counselor gave me a piece of paper and pen, and I came up with a turtle on the side of the highway. And this became my turning point. This was the medium of therapy we used for another 6 to 8 months. My semi-acceptance of acknowledging there was a brain injury, the turtle, me, who is lost and unsure of the new me, and my frustrations and struggles for not being on the highway are seen in this early sketch. But by the way, the parkway along the coast is what I much prefer now. I started creating visual art in 2013, and my current artwork focuses on creative healing. Did you know that 22% of the Canadian population over 15 years old have a disability? In BC, approximately 60 new cases per day, or 22,000 cases of serious brain injuries per year from motor vehicle accidents, victims of violence, and stroke, just to name a few. Acquired brain injuries and treatments are estimated to be greater than 12.7 billion per year. So let's consider the impact on family, community, and society. I didn't start attending any support group or taking coping classes until 2 years after my injury. I didn't know how to access proper care due to the system I got trapped in between provincial healthcare system and insurance claim system. I thought I lost my voice in the process until I decided to paint my reflection. My reflection started a few months after attending Victoria Brain Injury Society's creative art program. Shortly after, I found myself attending more art workshops and classes at Victoria Island School of Art and University of Victoria's continued education program. My reflection became a series exploring traumatic head injury, post-traumatic stress, and cancer. This piece is done using a technique in printmaking called collagraph and embossing and was published in 2018. In between, I was working on the Flow series, exploring my grandmother's stories about the Japanese occupation of the Philippines in 1941 to 1945, as well as using Sumi Nagashi as a complementary therapy to help lessen my anxiety and to deal with the effects of post-traumatic stress. Sumi Nagashi. Sumi means ink, Nagashi means floating, is an ancient paper marbling technique used in Japan back in the 12th century. This technique involves floating ink on water, creating marble patterns, and dipping paper in the water, which allows the ink to transfer onto the paper. Exploring this process helped me heal my relationship with water, which was a big part of my post-traumatic stress from near drowning. In 2020, I was asked to join 52 artists across Canada to help fundraise. Between the Lines was a fundraising helmet project for True Patriot Love based in Toronto. It helped raise $850,000 towards the mission of helping military members, veterans, and their families. Natural Transformations is my first solo art exhibition, currently at the Dock Center for Social Impact in downtown Victoria until July 19th, showcasing 15 of my most recent mixed media pieces, and it explores the layers of trauma that result from brain injury and disability, as well as the layers of the healing process. Silhouette shapes of cut decorative paper, along with Sumi Nagashi and printmaking techniques, represent the unseen layers of trauma below the surface of the work, as there is often much unseen that lies below the surface of brain injury, disability, and trauma. In this body of work, there are 3 separate series: images on papyrus, embossed paper, Sumi Nagashi background, to also demonstrate part of my grieving process. The image in the middle, titled Borrowed Strength, represents anger and bargaining, but at the same time, reflecting on my strength that is not necessarily just my own. Throughout my recovery, I asked for support from the people around me. Sometimes unknowingly, they also share their pain and their strength. The image on the right is titled The Mountains We Climb. is about my denial and depression. Here is where I often felt being on an endless roller coaster ride of emotions during the first 5 years of my recovery. And bloom number 3 is acceptance, where I used embossed paper to represent my scars. The main image is held by the strength of people and support systems. So let's face it, when someone no longer feels like themselves and is challenged by chronic pain, confidence starts to decline. Think about how it would affect you. What if one day you couldn't do what you used to do anymore? What if your daily waking hour is challenged by persistent pain and we're expected to perform as well as everyone else? So, what have I learned from my life experience and what have I learned from my recovery journey? One day, I was looking at an old Venn diagram, and in it, I found where I need to focus: the core, the root, and my truth. And I came up with B.me as a quick reminder each time I get a little lost. B.me to check in with my body, emotions, mind, and essence to remind me of my purpose. My life experiences continue to teach me not to be so scared, to continue to lend my newfound voice. And if I'm able to reach out to one, I've done my job of making a difference and will continue to do so. In the meantime, I encourage you to find your joy in the journey by creating, inspiring, and connecting. Thank you for your time and for opening your hearts that I'm able to share my truth. Thank you to Canada Council for the Arts, Victoria Arts Council, the DOC, Souk Arts Council, Victoria Brain Injury Society for supporting my first solo exhibit. Thank you so much to my support team, especially Leah, Renee, Wenna, Sarah, Cassidy, Deb, Julius, and Yukina. And to my family, friends, and health practitioners who walk beside me, no matter how slow, painful, and challenging the road to recovery has been. Thank you. And the last slide is just the resources and support groups. And if you're interested, I can email these to you.
Thank you so much, Maurina. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Maurina. That was such a beautiful presentation. I want to open up the floor now for Q&A, and we can have a conversation. Yeah, there's a nice comment in the chat from Simona, thanking you, Maurina.
Thank you.
So feel free to just unmute yourself and ask your question, or if you feel more comfortable typing it into the chat, you can do that and I can read it out for you.
I just want to say great job, Maurina.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for your support.
You're welcome.
I have a question to get the ball rolling. I noticed in your work that you have such a strong use of the silhouette and what a like a poignant form that is. And I was wondering if you could talk a bit about the visual metaphors of the silhouetted face as well as your use of the positive and negative space. So like the inversions, the absence of a face, or like the positive of a face.
Yeah. So when I started doing the silhouettes, it's because I really couldn't identify having brain injury. So so that's part of using it, because I'm in denial about the whole thing. And in order to accept it, I started putting things inside the silhouette, in a sense to represent what experiences people have that they can accumulate over the years. So it's so that's kind of like where I started with it. It's just basically explaining in my own way how each different silhouette will have its own individual context, because of the fact that each individual will have a different experience. A person, each brain injury is unique. So that's why it's all the silhouette is all different. It's just a representation of what I think is brain injury is about. When at the time I was like quite struggling with it. Like what I mentioned in the beginning, it took me 2 years to really come into grips on what it's about, because I took the coping classes twice. I had to take it twice because the first time was a blur. I was struggling to read. Every time I would look at words, it looked like it's an alphabet soup somewhere, and things are not making sense. I had to constantly bring somebody with me when having these types of conversations, because I just didn't trust myself, because I didn't believe what I have is real. I was used to doing high functioning jobs, used to doing hundreds of meetings across Canada in front of hundreds of people. To all of a sudden, I couldn't function with 6 people in the room. I could only interact with one person at a time. It was so overwhelming. So when I started to do the silhouettes, that's exactly kind of like what was in my head. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense, seeing those visual forms and your explanation.
Excuse me, I just want to say that I totally admire the way that Maurina has, from the very beginning of her brain injury, she has really coped so brilliantly and so creatively, found her own voice through the medium of art, and has been a wonderful advocate for brain injury survivors. And I admire her work so very much, and we love her so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marianne understands. I spend an afternoon with her. So sometimes it's difficult to function when you don't have enough sleep. And I think it goes for everybody, right? Like sleep is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I would trade any snacks for sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take
Yes.
sleep over snacks anytime.
How about both?
That would be nice.
Yeah. Uh,
Thank you for being here, Marianne.
it's lovely to hear you speak. Thank you for doing this talk. Appreciate it. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there's a question in the chat from Simona asking, Maurina, what is the most important effect you noticed your art has had on people?
Thank you for the question, Simona. I think there's a couple of things. It really, since I started sharing my pieces, I really noticed, even from some of the clients or the members at the Victoria Brain Injury, coming out and just, sharing their own work as well, where before they didn't want to, right? And they're also finding the medium to help them understand what they're going through, especially in the very beginning, because I think for the most part, people don't understand that the first, well, from just from my own experience, the first 3 years really is, I would say, the most critical years, just to understand what brain injury is about, what it's doing to your body, to your mind, your everyday living, just like a full understanding what it's about and how it's affecting your daily life. So for the most part, people have come up and I guess congratulated me, and because of the I guess just the courage to go out and admit to everybody that this is real. That's one thing, because it's already hard to admit it to ourselves. It's even harder to admit it to our family and friends, because they don't necessarily, they somehow see the changes and kind of notices, but they don't quite understand how to interact with that new person, because because they see the same person, which we are, except that we just have to find a way to navigate doing things. It's just like my I guess it's just like my the way that when I was explaining it to my counselor at the time, it's like we want to be where our peers are at, our, even our family members, and but we just couldn't go at the same speed, even if we want to. And so some parts of us would say, hey, like, we want to go for example, as simple as meeting a friend for coffee. If someone in the beginning of their head injury is still struggling with the headaches and the dizziness, and symptoms here and there, it's even difficult to go with a friend and make that solid commitment that says, I'm going to meet you at 2:00, because by 2:00 we're kind of wasted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes people don't realize that it's harder to balance, to get that balancing act even more, when you have to deal with those underlying symptoms that obviously we don't want it to run our lives, and nobody wants that, but that is the reality. So what do we do with the reality, right? And I just found that by challenging myself, because this whole project and what I've been doing really is a challenge to myself, to see how far I can go. And sometimes I still think that I can go even farther, and I know I can go even farther, but all of a sudden I would just break down. I just don't have that brain capacity without without somebody even telling me, hey, you've done too much. And I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful that my my family members have stepped in, like to the point where even my husband got me therapy dogs, or they're not really therapy dogs because there's so much work.
High maintenance therapy dogs, right?
Yes. But they got, like, when I got my Boston Terrier, he helped me get out of the house, because I was housebound. I couldn't even, it terrifies me to step out of my house. That's how bad the anxiety got. And look at me now. I'm hanging artwork.
Yeah.
All the way in Victoria.
Yeah.
So but it took me 10 years, right? This is not this whole self work, like reflection, figuring out how to be the new me, has taken this long. Mind you, it's not just because it's just the brain injury that I was dealing with, because I was also, after 5 years dealing with my brain injury, actually still, when I was still dealing with it, I got diagnosed with kidney cancer. So I got derailed for an extra 3 years. But again, like, it's I suppose it's that mental workout. It's the mental workout that that maybe I cultivated over time. And I just kind of, like, being at home, I kind of did my own research on how I can figure out how to explain it. First, obviously, explain it to my family. And I used art. I started using colors when I was really upset. In the beginning, all my little paintings are red and black and scratched up. I was just, and it was all like, And then I suddenly moved more into that suminegashi technique, where I was like, I need to calm down with this anger. Right? I'm angry, but how can I get this anger to work with me? It's part of me. Of course I'm angry about the whole thing. It changed my life. Who wouldn't be? But I think that's also what anger taught me is, you know what? You've got resources. Get useful. That's what it taught me. It's like, get going and do what you can, and throughout like throughout that time, I kept in touch with some of my Victoria brain injury friends. Unfortunately, some of them are gone now. They didn't make their battle. So this is also dedicated to them, because I want to see change.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and this is my way of saying, help me make change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Simona, I went on and on, but yeah.
Thank you, Maurina. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're hearing your journey firsthand, and your strength. It's so inspiring. And I know that your project Natural Transformations has sort of taken on, what do I want to say? It's becoming quite a big project, right? And that's so exciting. I was wondering if you wanted to talk about like your future plans for the Natural Transformations series, or anything else you have upcoming.
Well, right now I'm really trying to enjoy it. That's part of the thing. I think I have trouble enjoying things. Like once it's done, I kind of just, oh, it's done, let's fold it up. But like throughout the whole thing, you're so involved with, every one of us is so involved with the work that we're doing that sometimes we forget, that it's wonderful we're doing it.
Yeah.
That it's wonderful to have the time to create.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I kind of want to take the time to enjoy it a little bit, share it with with more people if they like. And I have another talk coming in June, so I'm kind of anticipating that it will be much busier next month, because the Brain Injury Awareness Month is the whole month of June, and that's kind of a global well, I don't want to, is it celebration? I don't know.
Acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marianne. I'm just thinking, do we celebrate this? And I'm planning some stuff later on in the fall, to also show it here in Souk. There's, like I've been kind of talking to some people right now to see how else we can bring this awareness project out. But I have all sorts of other projects too that I would like to do besides this one, because I've got quite a few friends and also people that have struggled over the course of the pandemic about their cancer recovery. So I might sort of pivot that way as well, or a mix. I'm not quite sure yet, but there is that sort of like brewing in my head right now because of the need in my community. And that's always what I was thinking, like, how can I serve my community here in Souk? But it seems that, I think small because I'm in a small community, and all of a sudden I step out, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's too big. I need a whole team. I need a whole team to help me manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do it, and all your friends and family can help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We'll keep prodding you and holding you up.
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne. Yeah. So that's the plan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great.
Do you have any questions, Cass, or anybody else?
I think most of my questions have been answered. It's so nice to hear you speak about your work. I've been very excited to hear about it since helping install at the dock. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. So yeah, so that's what I have. That's
Thank you so much. I mean, this is, it's so generous of you to speak about things that I'm sure, well, difficult things and things that maybe you've held close to your heart. So to share them publicly with people in the hopes of helping people better recognize themselves, how to be.me. I love that. I wrote it down. I think that's beautiful. Yeah, it's very, very brave and also very generous. So thank you so much, Maurina.
thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for all the support from everyone. Thank you so much.
Well, it's about 11:45, so maybe we'll end it here for today. I will be uploading this recording to our Creative Mornings chapter page. So if you want to revisit it or share it with a friend, it will be there probably later today. And then also, before we part ways, I just want to mention that our next Creative Mornings talk is going to be June 24th, and that is on the theme of wilderness. And our speaker will be local curator Jesse Deemers, who will be speaking about the Fairy Creek Artist in Residence program. So that's presented in partnership with the Legacy Art Gallery. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, great. Thank you,
Awesome.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marianne.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great weekend.
Bye.
Sending
You too.
love.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.